Hey everybody, Nick here, and today I want to do a little disassembly and maintenance on this big guy right here. This is the Cheburkov Small Strizh. Not 100% sure what they're going for there, but either way, interesting piece. This is on loan from my buddy Chris. He kind of, every so often, you know, I've got some good friends in the knife world. I've got lots of good friends in the knife world. It's a great community, but you know, I got some friends in the knife community who will tell me on occasion, Nick, you're an idiot for not looking at this. You kind of need, and you know, they tend to be people who have been in the game for a while and who I trust, who I, you know, I know to have, if not good taste, and I'm not dissing on you, Chris, but just like I generally know that when they say X is quality, that means X is quality, right? And so he told me, you know, Nick, you need to do this. You absolutely need to do this. And so here I am doing it. There we go. Pop that loose. Now, one thing that he told me is that the way that this knife comes apart is that you actually have to kind of counter-rotate the scales against each other. That's the way that the stop pin and everything is anchored. And so I'm not going to do that because right now I don't need to. All that I actually need to do to see the inside of this is exactly what I've done here. I'm able to fan everything out, and then, you know, this will work just fine. So I'm not going to go ahead and do this spin, because I don't, like I said, there's no freaking use of it. So, not gonna. I'm going to go ahead and use some rubbing alcohol here. If you're ever curious about any of the tools I'm using for my disassemblies, go ahead and check out nickshabazz.com/tools. And I have a video there that shows you everything that I'm doing. But what we can see here is a very simple construction. This is 2 chunks of titanium with no pocketing or anything like that. Nothing super fancy. With a fixed pivot, which I appreciate very much, with some phosphor bronze washers. Is that PB washer coming off here? I kind of want to pop him up just to get underneath. Here, let me try and use my little spudger guy. Lift. If I can lift this guy off, that'd be good, but he might actually be fixed in place. Are you fixed in place there, buddy? No, it doesn't seem like he is. I'm now referring to him as a gendered construct. Come on, bro. Why not, right? It's arbitrary. Alrighty. Let's go ahead. Oh, hold on. Making progress here. The reason I want to lift this up is because sometimes what I'm not seeing here is strong evidence of rotational movement. So what I'm thinking here is that maybe it's the case that this washer here is the one that generally spins, and so some of the gunk underneath there is going to be, well, underneath there. And so I'd just as soon get up under it and clean things out. Whether that actually is the truth or not, I can't really vouch. Go ahead and pour a little bit of booze onto the affair. This is 91% rubbing alcohol. Whoa there. Hashtag Batman mask reveal. Alrighty. So, but hopefully if this guy is indeed rotating, are you rotating? You know, I'm actually wondering whether this guy might be fixed. Because he seemed like he was lifting off a little bit, but with all of this tension I can muster, this guy ain't moving, so I'm just going to clean this guy up and hope for the best. Maybe it's the case that the knife really hasn't been used all that much, and so as a result, it's just isn't showing the rotational wear I'm used to. Either way, we'll make it happen here. Shouldn't matter ultimately in the grand scheme. I just tend to like to clean as thoroughly as I can, at least in these kinds of worlds. Alrighty. So, let's see here. Is there anything else that I need to cover? I'll go ahead and clean out the inside of the pivot hole. Just get a little bit of the gumption out of there. This is kind of weird. The pivot is chamfered. And not even chamfered. It's like there's a radius going into the pivot hole, which is kind of interesting. I'm going to go ahead and put this guy back together using knife pivot lube. Knife pivot lube is a great knife pivot lube, as you might kind of suspect. But the reason I'm using it here specifically over my normal choice, which is the 10-weight nano oil, maybe not my normal choice, but my usual choice. Maybe those are synonyms. I'm not sure. Anyways, I digress. But the reason I'm using them, put a little bit on the detent ball, which is steel, not ceramic, which is kind of interesting. Not a big problem, just different. Anyways, is that it tends to work really well on washer actions. Really, really well. And we'll put a little bit right into there on the pivot and call it a night. Morning, I guess. It's not even noon yet. So, if we call it a night, then, well, we got some troubles. All right. Now at this point in time, we need to do anything else? No? This is straightforward enough. What I'll do is I'll kind of lift this guy into place. There we go. And now I can disengage the lock bar and put this guy back together. I'm going to use some blue Loctite on this guy. Good old-fashioned blue Loctite on a stick. And that'll let me dial everything in properly and hope it'll stay into adjustment here. This is delightfully simple as a pocket knife. I'm kind of liking the construction here. Maybe it's a little frustrating that you can't get that guy pulled apart all the way, but as far as everything goes, that works. You know, this is the first Cheburkov I've had on the table. I've handled a couple at shows. I'm going in the wrong hole here. Whoops. And it looks like the backspacer has moved very slightly. So I'm going to use this little spudger tool there. Okay, the backspacer is in motion. So what I've done here is I've pulled it out a little bit, and then I'm going to apply some pressure here. Just light pressure, and then press down. There we go. And now it's popped into position. And before I finish the fully tightening the other one, I'll go ahead and seat this other one, so that way I've got a little play back and forth if I need it, which I didn't need. Beautiful. All right, so now that these are both in position, I can do that. I'd handled some of their stuff at shows, but I'd mostly looked at their flipper stuff. But this on washers is pretty compelling. Okay, so where we at right here? That popped open nicely. There is 0 blade play, but I bet I can loosen this up a little bit. Just a little tiny... Oh boy. Holy crap, guys. Yeah, we're done here. Holy crap, was that good. Oh boy. It's one of those moments where if a viewer is watching this at home aloud, they could have some judgment coming their way. Anyways, yeah, that'll do. That will do. Centering is maybe very, very slightly off center. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is just, because I cranked these guys down before I got my pivot fully tensioned, release that, and then all I did there is... Yeah, now we're dead center. All I did there is noticing that the blade was very, very slightly off center, but knowing also that I secured these screws, well, this was too tight, I just loosened them and then retightened them with the pivot in the proper positioning. And now, oh, God, is that good. That's a nice action. God, this thing, oh, yeah, that's good. Anyways, let's go on ahead. All right, wrapping it up before I start making other noises. And have yourself an absolutely wonderful rest of your day. A review of this guy is going to be coming up here pretty shortly. Have a good one, everybody. Bye now.